There have been some interesting developments when it comes to PlayStation stock and Xbox stock, namely that of sales. Xbox has begun outselling the PlayStation in several markets and has done so a few times now. Let's talk about what's going on here and future projections of sales for both of these console manufacturers. And while I have you, thanks for watching, everybody. If you like my content, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. Thank you so much for joining me today. Now, the first story that I want to look at, it was published on June 15th, and it actually comes from PlayStationLifestyle.net. And they say stock issues push PlayStation 5 to third place in the United States. Now, if you're unaware, Sony has had a really hard time getting the components needed to manufacture PlayStation 5 so that people can actually purchase their consoles. Ongoing PS5 stock issues have begun hurting the console's market share in the United States, where MPD Group reports that PS5 has been behind both the Nintendo Switch and Xbox Series X in recent months. While PlayStation 5 is the next-gen market leader, it has lost some of its share to Microsoft consoles, both of which have better availability in stores and online and offline. My stupid hand graph doesn't look so silly now, does it, everybody? No, I always predicted that both of these consoles would be in high demand and eventually become closer and closer to sales numbers parity. I think that's a good thing. And I think we've seen Sony make some very important adjustments because of this closeness that we see. More and more Sony games are going to the PC, which is great because it means that PC players get to play excellent games like Spider-Man, like the Uncharted series, like God of War, and those have sold quite well for Sony. Sony is pointing out that their trajectory for sales in those markets are going to be quite good. And also, they've adapted a Game Pass model, sort of like Game Pass anyway, with PlayStation Plus. The PlayStation Plus service now is folded in with PlayStation Now and offering a great service, something that I recently did a video about how much I like for their users, for anybody that has a PlayStation. I have 2 years of PlayStation Plus Premium. My service was converted over to PlayStation Plus Premium for having both PlayStation and PlayStation Now on one account, and they just auto-convert you over. So a lot of people are going to get to experience a whole lot of games for a long time. So it really makes me happy to see that both of these companies are offering great things for their consumers on multiple platforms. But what is Sony going to do about this console issue? Well, we have been seeing reports that Sony is working endlessly to make more PS5s as console sales top 20 million. Now, that was about a month ago, right? There's going to be a significant ramp up in production this year. Again, 24-day-old article. PS4 console sales have reached 20 million units worldwide, says Sony, and it's working on a significant ramp up in production this year. I remember talking about this story. Sony confirmed the sales milestone in a statement to gamesindustry.biz. The company does not specify whether the number represents consoles sold into retailers or sold through consumers, but given how hard it remains to get a PS5, it seems unlikely. There's a lot of unsold stock sitting on store shelves. When I was in Bangkok, you guys remember I took a vacation in May. I was actually able to walk into several stores and there were PlayStation 5s. I don't know why they were available in Bangkok, but it does seem like that issue of availability is slowly being eased up upon. Let me see what else we have here. That was the old one. The story that's been going around recently, this was on the 21st, and it's from DigiTimes Asia, easing chip shortages to boost PS5 console shipments. The easing of chip and component shortages will boost shipments of Sony's PlayStation 5 gaming console the second half of 2022 and 2023, according to industry sources. Now, this is the only source that I could find talking about this, but if we actually look back not that long ago, Intel was talking about the chip shortage and how it will not end until 2024. Now, I have to wonder if the COVID restrictions slowly being lifted has anything to do with the reduction in length of time for that. But if you look at car manufacturers and everybody else competing to get these components that the consoles also need, it has affected both PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X sales because they just cannot get these components and they're often outbid. There have also been some articles about how there is a employee shortage of people who have the ability and knowledge about how to build these semiconductors and processors. And that is going to be a challenge for the sector as a whole. I have to imagine they're going to start hiring at a premium for people who have experience, and that will cause competition within the market, which is good for the component market. Hopefully that doesn't impact your ability to buy the console of your choice. I feel like more and more we hear success stories about people getting to purchase the console that they want to purchase. A lot of people have been pointing to this Japan article from Famitsu talking about how Xbox, again, in Japan, was able to outsell PlayStation 5. You know, Sony being a Japanese company, you would imagine that they would be able to sell through there quite easily, but the last few months, their consoles just aren't available, so I think Xbox is pulling ahead there. So Sony has sold a cumulative something like 1.5 million units in Japan. But recently they have had a very, very difficult time with stock. You can see, when was this? This was May. So this was published on 5/19. So this is, I'm guessing these are the April hardware sales. And they sold 2,240 PlayStation 5 units and only 453 digital units. I believe the digital is very scarce. I think they doubled down on the PS5 because like what you want to sell the more expensive unit, right? At least on the PlayStation side of things, because on the Xbox side of things, it's actually the inverse. They only sold 105 Xbox Series X units, and they sold 6,120 units of the Xbox Series S. When Xbox announced that they were going to do an Xbox Series X and the Xbox Series S version of consoles, I thought it was genius. Look, we're all in a huge bubble where we get so caught up in what's PlayStation doing, what's Xbox doing, that I think about, you know, myself when I was young and didn't have a lot of money, and Microsoft has done an amazing job marketing what they offer you when you purchase one of their consoles at a much reduced price point from where the PlayStation 5 has priced their console. I'm talking about the Xbox Series S. Look, a lot of people who have the money care about 4K, care about 120 hertz, care about 60 FPS. A lot more people care about just being able to play video games. And you can walk into any Costco, buy an Xbox Series S at just about any time you want. I don't know where they're getting Series S's in Japan, but I assume it's not Costco. And it has just been an incredibly smart strategy for Xbox to offer those two SKUs. Do you care about the latest and greatest? Get the Xbox Series X. Do you just want a game? All these next gen games? Get a Series S. And I feel like I've said it too many times, so you don't need to hear it again. But that has been a very smart strategy for Microsoft to go for, and it's paying off in dividends, and that's why these sales are catching up. So, looking at another report here, we see that the Xbox Series, well, let's see which one's older because they're cumulative. Yeah. So this is the most up-to-date one. Again, more even numbers. So it looks like they were able to get some semiconductors. They sold 3,272 Xbox Series X units and 3,423 units. The PlayStation 5, however, has sold 2,371 PS5 units, and the PS5 digital sold 664. So what's going on here? Why is Xbox selling more? Well, both manufacturers, of course, are having difficulty getting these semiconductors. There was a report that Xbox was paying to get those at a priority. That might be true. And I think it would be smart business on their part to get the consoles out there when PlayStation 5 can't seem to manufacture enough. The question I'm left with is, who do I believe? Do I believe the Intel CEO who is saying, yeah, hey, look, the semiconductor shortage, that's going to last till 2024. And the numerous reports that I've heard that the semiconductor shortage is going to last into 2024. Go look at the car market. The car market is insane right now. As someone trying to buy an electric vehicle, you can go into a dealership right now and they will be like, sure, we'll sell it to you $10,000 above MSRP, and then you leave that company and you don't buy the car. That's what happens, you know? I find it fascinating that both of these manufacturers are struggling and that they are ending up at parity. I don't think we'll ever know what would happen if everybody just had full access to the semiconductors that they wanted. I have to imagine PlayStation sales would have skyrocketed at the beginning, and then they would have leveled off. I think by the end of this console life cycle, we are going to see fairly close sales in terms of the Xbox Series X and S strategy versus the PlayStation 5 versus PlayStation 5 digital strategy. And it's because of that price point. It just makes it too easy to get into next gen. But anyway, the report is that Xbox has outsold PlayStation yet again. And people wonder why I don't make videos about PlayStation outselling Xbox. It's because that should be the default. That's what we all expected. So when Xbox outsells PlayStation, I find it notable because I don't think most people saw that coming. So there's a lot going on there to make that a reality, right? There's a chip shortage going on. I think Xbox has done excellent with their marketing. I think PlayStation is finally coming around with their strategy, and I think things are really going to even out. And I'm really happy about the state of both manufacturers right now, honestly. I think Sony has done a great job offering better services to their consumers. I've made it very clear about how I feel about the $70 price point versus the $60 price point. But Sony is doing some good stuff right now. So kudos to Sony. And I hope they figure out the chip supply issue and are able to offer those consoles to everybody who wants to buy one. And on the Xbox side, except for this year with the game delays, which has made the rest of 2022. I made a video about all the games coming out in 2022 for Xbox. It's more than you might expect, including third-party titles. The PlayStation 5 still has God of War Ragnarok, which should be this year, so that will be a positive for them, and some interesting titles like Stray that we're all going to be able to play very soon, and I'm excited for. Nintendo has Xenoblade 3. I believe that's quite a popular one on Nintendo's side, and the new Monster Hunter game is coming to a bunch of places. So there's lots of stuff to play, but this software lineup and changes on PlayStation side and strategies on Xbox side has been really, really interesting to cover. And I can't wait to see what happens. It's been really, really fun to cover, and I'm going to keep covering it as long as I can. I don't really have a point. I just think it's cool. I think it's cool that Xbox didn't just die out. And I don't know why anybody would want that. It feels like some fanboys want Xbox to die and some fanboys want PlayStation to die. And to make my stance very clear, I do not want either company to go away. PlayStation has amazing properties that I cannot wait to play. I cannot wait to play God of War Ragnarok. I brought out my steering wheel again because I'm going to get back into GT7 and start racing again. I got to DM that guy again and get some 1v1s going on. And I want Nintendo to stay around. I want all the console manufacturers to stay around. And I really, really like when they push each other in interesting ways, because that means all of us get better and better products at the end of the day. Without competition, a company is allowed to sort of do whatever they want and control the market. And I think that would be bad for the whole gaming industry. I do worry about anyone just dominating the industry. And I think there's healthy competition right now. Like there's Embracer Group, which has bought up a bunch of developers, as we see what I call a reset for the industry, like all these companies being purchased, like Activision being purchased by Microsoft, still allowing, games to come out on multiple platforms. On the Sony side, they're buying Bungie, and they're going to make like a whole bunch of games like Destiny. It's really an interesting time. I hope people appreciate and recognize what is going on, because we are at a pretty pivotal time in the gaming space. And I think cool things are afoot over the next few years. And I hope you'll stick with me covering it and talking about it on my channel. Thank you so much for watching this video. Congrats to Xbox in Japan, I guess. You still got a lot to sell to, catch up all the way to PlayStation, who's sold a staggering 1.6 million units, whereas Xbox has sold 100 and I'm doing math, which we all know is a disaster. 122,000 units about. So we'll see where that lands. But Japan is a really interesting market because actually we can look at it and see, okay, is Xbox actually going to have really good sales for the first time in history? I think that's a good thing because it means they're not just speaking to the US demographic or the UK demographic. They're speaking worldwide in a new way that seems to be working for them. Time will tell. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell to know when this content goes live. Appreciate you watching, even though I kind of get a little rambly there at the end. Thank you so much to the members who say, hey, Destin, you're really rambly and we really like your content, so we're going to support it. Thank you for watching. Hit that join button if you want to become a member. Thank you so much. I'm going to get out of here, and I'll see you for the next one. Bye for now, everybody. I moved all the buttons on my Steam Deck.